Welcome to State Insurance USA Cares podcast, where we celebrate the heart of our communities. Each episode, we highlight local charities and nonprofits who are bringing hope, help, and healing to those who need it most. Get ready to be inspired by the amazing stories of people making a difference, because together, we care.
Well, hi, it's me, Gail Langner, back again for State Insurance Cares. And we are so excited today to have Karlene Masse with 4KIDS Southwest Florida as our guest today. So, Karlene, thanks for taking some time to join us today. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Well, for those people that don't know, what is 4KIDS Southwest Florida? It's actually the number 4KIDS Southwest Florida, right?
Right, everybody thinks
Exactly what do you do? We're honored to donate to you and help you in any way we can, but I know a lot of people don't necessarily know what we know.
Absolutely. So 4KIDS of Southwest Florida is a nonprofit organization that serves all 5 of our counties within Southwest Florida. So Lee County, Collier, Charlotte, Hendry, and Glades. And really our goal is to have a home for every child. Every day kids are being removed from their homes, and through no fault of their own. And we're really placing them in their place in the foster care system. So what 4KIDS does is what we believe in is a child for every home, where we could offer homes and healing for them while they're in that process. Our mission is simple. We want to go through 3 different paradigms. So hope being our preventative care. So we use our implementing partner CarePortal, where we connect with community leaders and churches to engage in any type of preventative care. So if there is a family that gets DCF called on them and they have a welfare check, but it's not necessarily grounds for that child to be removed, what we would do is essentially DCF will place a ticket through our CarePortal system that will alert all of our community members and churches that are on that system to help with the care that they need, whether it's new beds, food, if they need clothes, things of that nature. So the kind of the red flags that DCF will do during a welfare check. Mm-hmm. Our homes initiative is simple. We want a home for every child. So we provide the licensing as well as the training for couples and single people to become foster parents. The prerequisite is that they are Christian. That is the only thing that we ask for, and that they're heterosexual. But other than that, we go through that entire care system with them. And then our healing portion is really what differentiates us. It's really we offer in-trauma therapy for all of the children, the families, and the biological children of the parents throughout their process while they have that child in the foster care home. So within 24 hours, we have them set up with one of our trauma care therapists in the market, and we have them on their way to healing. So that's in a nutshell what we do, which is really exciting.
What do you think, Karlene, is probably the biggest challenges that face children and families in our area right now?
That's a great question, Gail. Truly, it's going to be food and housing. If you really think about it, it is a vicious pattern that occurs in our area. Without housing or without food, you have these parents, these adults that get into very precarious situations. Mm-hmm. And when you're desperate or under pressure, that then leads to the neglect and the hunger of children, right, which then in turns them getting them placed into the foster care system. So if there is a way for us to help on that preventative side, or even help with finding home placements while the families get together, get back on track, that's really the goal in it. But hunger and housing is definitely good.
How can you be proactive on that? I mean, I know DCF, you said, helps when there's a red flag raised, but is there any way how do you go about that?
So really what it is that we are one of the 4. So DCF is really kind of the privatized, segment throughout the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. Then each region has their kind of like middleman, as I like to call it. Mm-hmm. Here we work alongside with Children's Network. And so Children's Network, when they have a child in DCF that is placed in the foster care system of some sort, whether it's through a group home or any other home, they'll actually go ahead and get caseworkers that are going to call the 4 or 5 organizations that they have.
Okay,
We are one of those organizations that we
got
do
it.
that. But again, our preventative side is that hope process, and really just finding the foster care system on there. So it's just looking at it from that approach. Obviously, hunger, housing, those are other different approaches. Where we have wonderful organizations that will help with that, but our real heart is to help those children that once they are placed in those situations that we can help them.
Okay. When, um, what was I was gonna ask you? I thought, oh, I was that's the problem. See, while you were talking, I was thinking of something else to ask. That was the problem I had when I was on TV as well. So, I'm thinking about the next question. Um, so for you, I know we've known each other for a long time when you were with WAFM. What brought you to be in help with this mission instead?
With 4 kids. Oh,
Uh-huh.
so I've heard about this organization years ago. I lived in Broward County, the east coast of Florida, for many a decades, and I've known about 4 kids since then. That's where actually the organization was founded, through Calvary Chapel in Fort Lauderdale,
Mhm.
and I've known about what they do. The wonderful works that they're doing on that coast, because it goes beyond the foster care homes, obviously, when they're children, but they have different implementations of transitional living. Once a child ages out of foster care, they actually have homes for them where they can help them and educate them on all the things that the government can offer them because they've been in the foster care system. They also have homes for mothers that are pregnant, that are on the streets. They go in and they kind of have record a reignition into, or retransition into society once they have the kids. So seeing that, living on that coast, I was always enamored with this organization.
Mhm.
And so when I moved here to Southwest Florida 4 years ago, Rick Jacobs, which is our executive director,
Right,
he actually was moving back into this area, and he was starting up their first satellite office in Southwest Florida.
right.
So me and him have been friends for a really long time. And when I found out he was here, I actually engaged with them while I was on the Bonita Springs Estero Leadership Academy, when I
Mhm.
was still in that side of town, in that life.
Yes.
And I just always have kept in touch with them. I just love what they're doing. I love how we're trying to get to a place where we are mirroring what they're doing on the East Coast, and really have those initiatives and those other areas of support here in Southwest Florida.
Mhm. I know he's a really great guy. I think when Blake was younger, our owner, when he was younger, I think, Rick might have been one of his
Oh yeah.
pastors. Uh-huh, yeah.
I think Rick should be a Chapman brother by association at this
I think you're
point.
probably right. Oh gosh. So, Carlene, once the kids go into foster care, d is the goal to get them back to their parents? But sometimes you don't wanna put them back in that situation, right? I mean, that's kind of an interesting call. What
Yeah.
happens there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. A lot of times, there's a big kind of misconception of the difference between adoption and fostering. So, the purpose of foster care is that you have the child for a certain amount of time, because the intention is to reunify them with their families.
Okay.
So, there is a time frame that is given from the caseworkers to the parents, and the biological parents, depending on their circumstance. They'll have a certain amount of time to get their lives back in order, whether it's rehabilitation, whether it's finding a job, whatever the case may be for their story. Um, they are going to have that certain amount of time. It could be anywhere from a year, it could be anywhere from 18 months. Sometimes it's court order, so every circumstance is different.
Okay.
If by the time that the system or the government has allotted for that parent to get back on track, if they're not at that point, then that's when the case will turn into an adoption situation,
Okay.
at which case that foster family can determine whether they want to go into the adoption world, or at that point then DCF will work alongside 4 kids to find a family that is looking for adoption.
Mhm. During World War II, my mother, took care of wards of the court kids that were taken away from, their families for one reason or another, and she got my dad was over in Germany. She got my sister when she was 2 weeks old, she had pneumonia, and she got her straight from the hospital. And by the time she was 2, my dad was shot in the Battle of the Bulge, and he was in hospitals, in England and all over.
Wow.
And, so they ended up adopting her. So, yeah, my sister that's 7 years older than me was actually in that situation herself. Yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
yeah,
So,
I learned something new today
mhm.
from you.
How about that?
You're just a
So,
ball of new information every time I see you.
knowledge.
I love it.
Oh, God. So I know that you say healing and stability, and they're super powerful words. What does a healing really look like for a child that's been through that kind of trauma? Did you mention that you do have helps, psychological help, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's really crazy because if you could even kind of think about it, a child that's placed in the foster care system is 2 times more likely to have PTSD than a military veteran who was in
No
combat.
kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Karlene.
So healing is truly what differentiates our organization from others. We have what we offer is EPIC therapy, which EPIC stands for emotional, physical, intellectual, and character-based needs. And it's a trauma-informed approach that all of our therapists have. And really what we do, it's at no cost, typically at no cost to the parents or to the families. And we offer these services for the entire family. So whether you're a biological child, whether you are the foster child or the parents, because the parents need to have the right tools and resources to understand, okay, this is the type of trauma that they're going through, whether it's abandonment, whether it's sexual abuse, whatever the case may be. They have to have the right tools necessary to navigate that child. And really the ultimate healing that we work with is, through the love of Jesus. So that's why we really preface on having a Christian home, because we know that all the healing that we need is really comes from God. But our therapists are trained in that. Epic training is our therapies are also open to the public. So if the therapists have capacities, and maybe your child didn't go through the foster care system, but they have shown signs of some type of trauma or behavioral, we could go ahead and help the parents as well from our community. So it really just depends on the capacity for the therapist. We're actually in the process of hiring our third therapist for the office, which is fantastic
Hmm.
because that means that we have more families to help
Great.
to help you know get them back together.
About how many foster families do you have right now,
Oh,
in
yeah.
our area?
So within 4 kids, we have currently 28 families. We actually have,
Wow.
yeah, we have in 4 years, which is amazing. We have 15 more that are in the process of getting licensed. And
Okay.
we have, I believe it's 5 or 6 families that are enrolled currently in our training that we have right now. Pride training is what we call it.
Okay.
So they started back in the beginning of October, and they're going to graduate in December. So that's really cool. It's a 6 week
That's
course.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Karlene, I know, not everybody can be a foster parent, but what are some other ways to support?
There's so many ways. I mean, let me count the ways. And this is one of the reasons why I love this organization, because there are just really creative ways to just plug in with us.
Mhm.
Obviously, the first and foremost is if you have the heart or you ever thought about fostering or becoming a foster parent, that's always going to be our first win, is trying to find more homes for these children. But really, for individuals who desire to want to plug in, and it's not through becoming a foster parent, we do have donors, individual donors that we have. 70% of our organization is funded privately. So
Mhm.
we actually only get about 30% of grants coming through the state for what we do. So we rely heavily on individual donors. For businesses, if you're looking to just become a sponsor, we have 3 fundraising events throughout the year and 3 foster care events throughout the year. So all of that goes back to really helping these parents and these children to kind of get on board. If you're not in that position to do that as well, we have a volunteer staff that we have here, which we call FAM, which is our Family Advocacy Ministry. And really what they are, and it's the reason why our stability rate within a foster care home, a 4KIDS foster care home, is so great and the government loves it, is because we have this ministry where they're just volunteers that say, hey, let's give you a night off, family. Go and enjoy date night. Go and, just remember who you were before you took on this mission. And we're going to come in and babysit the child. Or, hey, you need some meal train going on. I know that this is busy, this transition. You have 3 kids or you have one of your own kids, however, is let me give you some meals. So, it's a wraparound system that truly helps. And our families feel that support coming from our volunteers. So, talents, treasures, those are always the things that we look at. And then obviously if you're looking to just become a donor individually, we have a wonderful defenders program. So at $1 a day, you could become a defender and you'll be part of our bigger donation fundraising campaigns that we have. And you'll get to hear all the fun stuff that your $1 a day is going towards.
That would be really neat. And of course, obviously small businesses too. You brought up companies as well that can sponsor and
Yep.
so
And
on.
they could be individual donors as well, or donors
Sure.
as well through our monthly program. We just had a business out in LaBelle that just this past week became a monthly donor, and it's $5,000 a month that he's donating.
Oh,
Wow.
Karlene,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
It was a huge win, and I'm so happy for it. Doesn't mean that everybody has to do that. We really just require $1 a day.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes.
If you're counting on me for that, Karlene, you could
No.
just not count on that.
No, you give so much already. It's the state for state insurance. You guys give so much with your time. Being one of our champions, that Blake is one of our champions, which is like our little mini board here for Southwest Florida. And
Yeah.
you just recently joined our events committees team with Galentine's and everything. So I'm excited about that. But
I know.
yeah,
It's gonna be a
businesses
great
can
event.
plug in through sponsorships. There's completely different ways. I mean, another way to also plug in is hosting a donor event. So if you have a sphere of influence and you have people that are, this cause could be near and dear to them, let's get them together in a room and talk more about how they could plug in.
Awesome. Well, I am so glad you took the time, Karlene, to be here today. Just before we close, tell them how would they reach you if one of our listeners went, oh, I really would like to be involved in that some way. How would they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So 4kids.us, and then you put our location for Southwest Florida is going to be your main way. You'll get to know more information, but you could also reach me directly at 239-483-8533. Or you could just email me at carlenem@4kids.us. And that's M as in Massey, not as in Nancy.
and Karlene with a K.
Yes, Karlene with
it. That's right. Right. Well, thanks for taking some time, my friend. You know how much I appreciate you and how much we all appreciate 4Kids and everything that you do. It's a wonderful ministry. Besides just being a job, it's a wonderful ministry. And so we're thrilled to help in any way we can. And obviously look forward to seeing you at our Hats Off to You event coming up. And so anyway, thanks for taking the time. And,
Thank you.
And again, thanks for all you do.
Thank you for everything that you guys are doing. We're so proud to be partners with you, and we're excited to see what state insurance is going to do in 2026. I know you guys are just going to continue to be blessings and blessed because of everything that you do for our community. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you. Well, have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on State Insurance USA Cares. We hope today's story uplifted and inspired you. If you'd like to support or learn more about the incredible work happening in your community, visit stateinsuranceusa.com or call 239-567-9992. You can also visit CaboWaboGym.com. Until next time, be sure to let your sun shine and keep sharing good and positive vibes wherever the waves take you.